Do the little things carefully, do the small things thoroughly. For all things in the world, the concepts of big and small are not the same. The earth is big, but it is a drop in the bucket compared with the Milky Way. A leaf is small, but it is a huge square for an ant. In the view of many people, success is to do great things, but at the same time disdain to do small things. As this saying goes, how can you sweep the world without sweeping a house? By the same token, how can great things be achieved if you don't do small things? In the first year of Zhengde, Wang Yangming was demoted to Gizhou Longchang Yakeng because he was excluded by the eunuch Liu Jin. Compared with the bustling capital, Longchang, a wild place, is not too much to describe as poor mountains and evil rivers, and there are few people around for hundreds of miles. However, Wang Yangming did not lose morale because Longchang was a small place. In his eyes, the world is the best place in the world. Big, what can't be done? He thinks he can make a difference in this small place. Indeed, it was during his tenure in Longchang that he realized the Tao, which is the core content of the study of mind. Wang Yangming realized the great truth in a small place like Longchang. Although the big things are big, we should start with the small things, and do the little things to the extreme and naturally achieve the great things. Zumi Mountain is hidden in grain rice, and many inconspicuous people, things and things have unlimited energy. Small sand and gravel can build tall buildings, small sparks can start a prairie fire, and a small smile can spread joy and love, so small often contains infinite power. Any small step is likely to make a big step forward, and even a small thing can achieve great things, if it can be done to the extreme. The one who pours tea and half puja has the most magical powers among the arhats. Once the Buddha was harmed by a foreign way. The devil pressed the mountain over, pointed at the back of the tea injector, and pushed the mountain away. The Venerable One with such magical powers was a very stupid child when he was young. The half toga is so stupid that people have no choice but to do so. The teacher taught him to read Siddharma, forgot Siddhartha when teaching him Siddharma, and forgot the previous Siddhara when he taught him Siddhartha. The teacher told Zenda Bantaga's parents that he would rather teach many other Brahmin children than spend his time on this one student. His parents had to send him to a Vedic teacher. There, the teacher taught him to pronounce the letters Om, but he couldn't learn it. So the teacher had to ask his parents to hire someone else. Zhendu Bantaga has an older brother, Bantaga, who is very smart and knowledgeable and polite. As a result of the opportunity, the two brothers met some disciples of the Buddha. Soon, their brother became a monk as a bhikkhu. And Bantaga was considered too stupid to be a monk, so he had to live nearby alone. One day, my brother Bantaga and other people went to the city of Sirovishadi to pay homage to Sakyamuni Buddha, and many people followed to watch the hustle and bustle. Tea injection half toga also mixed in the crowd, happened to be seen by half toga. Half toga asked half toga, "What do you do for a living now?" Jutar Bantaga replied, "I can't make a living, life is very difficult." Half toga asked again, "Do you want to become a monk?" "How can a fool like me be eager to join the victorious Buddhist Sangha? I can't even remember the simplest eulogy. Everyone knows I'm stupid." Juta half Toga said. Half Toga said to his brother, to practice the Dharma, regardless of caste or caste. The most important thing is to follow the original teachings of the Buddha and put them into practice. If you really want to be a monk, then you can do it. T. Bantaka respectfully came to the Buddha and his disciple Ananda. The omniscient Buddha understood the humble and pure heart of Ananda and asked the Ananda to become a monk. Ananda injects tea and half Toya gives an eulogy. Do not do all evil. To protect yourself from evil thoughts, practice good, not to hold on to yourself. And to be free from harm and trouble if you are mindful, right, and right. This is what the Buddhas teach. 3 months later, the Tsemi Toga still couldn't remember the simple mantra, and all the other new monks had already memorized the whole chapter. And even the local shepherds were familiar with the simple odes, and several other mantras. Finally, the Buddha had to teach him himself. The Buddha wants to clean the temple to clear the karma, and at the same time recite and think about the word broom while sweeping. Although it is an extremely simple word, tea injection half Toga is still forgetting before and after. Forgetting broom at the thought of sweeping and sweeping at the thought of broom, so it is distressing. So the Buddha told him mercifully, the meaning of broom is to remove dirt. Think about it. What is the purpose of your recitation of the word broom? According to the teachings of the Buddha, he thought, what is dirt? The dust and rubble is dirt. What is removal? Removal is cleanliness. So the Buddha is reminding us that in addition to removing the dirt from the outside, we should also remove the dirt from the mind. Once all the troubles are removed, wisdom will naturally be revealed. In this way, Gendao Bantaka kept worrying about the truth. And at last he read the corresponding wisdom, saw through the illusion with a broom and became enlightened, and finally proved the Ara and Go. T. half Toga stupid ordinary people cannot even memorize a simple sun, but just because he concentrated on sweeping the floor, he became the first big arhat of the avatar. The theory of great wisdom said, mindfulness with one mind is the fruit of the road. If you have the spirit to do small things, you can have the courage to do great things. Do not underestimate small things. As long as it is beneficial to work and career, everyone should start with small things. The cause built up with little things is solid, and the great wall built up with small things is solid. A long journey begins with a small step. A hugging tree is born at the end. If you want to travel thousands of miles and become a big tree, you should start under your feet and start at the end. A person who distance ordinary things, no matter how magnificent his ideal is, can only be a colorful soap bubble. If you want to be ambitious, you must keep your feet on the ground and focus on small things. Seize the present and do everything seriously. Wang Yangming once took practicing calligraphy as an example, saying that the only thing he learned to write was to learn the shape of the character, and then he had to think carefully before writing. Because he understood that the secret of it was to simulate the shape of the word in his mind first. From the experience of the ancients in practicing calligraphy, Wang Yangming also realized the truth: if you should keep your study in mind at any time, then you will naturally be able to write well and learn well. The young Wang Yangming often thought about life and understood philosophy in front of nature, and finally carried forward the study of mind. This is inseparable from his seriousness and concentration. He has fully grasped every opportunity in his life to learn, even in the face of ordinary nature. He is always unwilling to relax, because he knows very well that what he paid yesterday was yesterday, and if he hasn't paid yet today, don't expect the harvest. LV Meng was a very famous general of the Eastern Wu at the end of the Eastern Han Dynasty. Sun Quan once said to LV Meng, you are now in an important position, and in charge of power, so you have to learn. LV Meng refused to study. So he refused to say that there was so much to do in the army that he had no time to study. Sun Quan said, I'm not asking you to study Confucian classics and become a doctor. I just want you to browse through books and understand what happened in the past. You say you have a lot of work to do and have no time to study, but can you be as busy as I am? I also often read books, and get a lot of benefits from it. So Lu Meng made up his mind to start reading. Later, when Lu Su passed through Zunyang and talked to Lu Meng, he was surprised and said, your talent strategy today is no longer that of Wu Meng. LV Meng said, after 3 days of farewell, you should be impressed. How come you don't understand this truth? Lu Su was so shocked that he went to see Lu Meng's mother, and became friends with Lu Meng. LV Meng was originally a martial arts man, but later, under the persuasion of Sun Quan, he studied hard and finally became a handsome talent, with both culture and martial arts, and also made a story of learning. As for learning, many people, like Lu Meng's initial understanding, think that they have no time and energy, but everything is an excuse. As long as you make up your mind, and study attentively from now on, you will get unexpected gains. Grasp the present, seriously do everything, is a kind of pay before the harvest, is a simple belief in life. Its purpose is to temper their own character, and enrich their own life. Of course, this seemingly simple belief is not formed in a day, or in a short period of time. In the torrent of time, only by stepping on it step by step can we seek the transcendence of life. Wang Yangming talks about conscience and believes that conscience is invisible, inaudible and intangible. Most people only know how to work hard where they can see, hear and touch, but ignore the real conscience, and eventually they will not be able to achieve the state of conscience. Because the human mind only focuses on superficial things, not on things that can't be seen, heard, or touched. In fact, for those places that are not easy to show, we should be more vigilant and more careful. This is the skill to achieve conscience. To achieve this, you need to always take a cautious and serious attitude, pay attention to the details, pay attention to the things that are usually ignored, and then put the small things into practice and do them seriously, so that you can mature after accumulation. When you encounter challenges and difficulties, you don't need to spend too much effort, and won't be dragged down by the outside world. Life is only between a breath and a breath. Every present is the most important time in life, and you need to experience it with your heart. Spring breeze and autumn rain, flowers bloom and fall. People always sigh for the beauty that has inadvertently disappeared, but they are unwilling to stop and praise the beauty around them, and repent only when they are gone. How pathetic such people are. The great Indian poet Tagore said, if you shed tears, when you miss the sun, you will also miss the stars. If you want to make a difference every minute of your life, you need to leave a solid footprint at every step. Be diligent in seeking knowledge, and careful in doing things. Zhuangzi said, "There is no limit in my life, but there is no limit to knowledge." If one wants to have a good and successful life, one must keep learning. Wang Yangming believes that the more questions he asks in his study, the more refined his knowledge will be. And if you want to ask more and more questions, you can't do without diligence. He also said, "Scholars always learn to see what they do not see, often hear what they do not hear, and have a real place in time." Academic research should always have the mentality of seeking knowledge. Diligence can become a talent, and work should also be diligent and meticulous in order to succeed. If there is no diligence, it is impossible to make a career. The hero of the sages through the ages, that is, those who stand in the world, is nothing but the word diligence. Adulterous men are also outstanding people, and they also need to go through unremitting struggle to be recognized by history, let alone heroes. Zheng Guofen also attached great importance to the word diligence. In his later years, among the 4 family instructions, Zheng Guofen gave the most detailed exposition on diligence. He said that it is only natural to like comfort and hate work. If a person can overcome inertia and use food and clothing equal to his contribution to society, then he will naturally be recognized by others and even ghosts. The words and deeds of ancient sages embody the 2 realms of diligence. For themselves, they cultivate skills and knowledge through labor for society. They are able to understand the difficulties of others and use their own actions to help others. Many people have good ideas in life, but only those who work hard in the process of hard exploration are likely to make remarkable achievements. In the Western Han Dynasty, there was a peasant's child named Quang Heng. He wanted to study very much when he was a child, but because his family was poor, he had no money to go to school. Later, he learned to read from a relative and became able to read. Quang Heng could not afford to buy books, so he had to borrow books to read them. There is a large family nearby with a large collection of books. One day, Quang Heng rolled up his bedding and appeared in front of a large family. He said to his host, "Please take me in. I will give you free work for nothing. Just let me read all your books." The host was moved by his spirit and agreed to his request to borrow books. But Quang Heng's family is so poor that they can't afford the oil to light the lamp, so they can't read at night. What should I do? One night, Quang Heng was lying in bed memorizing the books he had read during the day. With his back on his back, he suddenly saw a ray of light coming through the east wall. He stood up and went to the wall to have a look. It was the neighbor's light that came through the crack in the wall. So Quang Heng thought of a way. He took a knife and dug the crack in the wall a little bigger. In this way, the light came through more, and he leaned against the light and began to read the book. Quang Heng studied so hard that he became the Prime Minister of Emperor Yuan of the Han Dynasty, and became a famous scholar in the Western Han Dynasty. From ancient times to the present, from Jingwei reclamation to hanging beams stabbing strands, drilling walls to steal light, all of them are talking about the effects of diligence and seriousness. When Wang Yangming talked about conscience, he also said that as long as he was diligent and conscientious, conscience would naturally last forever. Therefore, as long as we seek knowledge diligently, work carefully, persevere, and overcome difficulties, the pain of hanging beams and the poverty of digging walls, and stealing light cannot stop the pace of success, and if we do not have to face these difficulties in the first place, is there any reason to waste our time? To some extent, learning is the first priority in life. A person who does not seek knowledge, a person who is not diligent can only live in ignorance forever, and only those who keep learning and seeking knowledge can have a bright future.